And thank you, Minister, for such a very comprehensive rundown there, and your sign language skills were very, very good. I think you did a great job, and I commend you on your attempts there. I'd like to pay tribute to An Cathaoirleach today, because it was his vision and his commitment over the years to bring this day to fruition. And I'd like to thank Mark Daly for all his efforts, and I was very, very proud to be one of the proposers of the legislation in 2017, but it was really Mark Daly who championed it from the very outset. And one of my first memories after being elected to Seanad Éireann was being metaphorically pounced on by Mark Daly to talk about the Irish Sign Language Act. This was what he wanted to see passed in his term in the Seanad, and I'd commend him for having the vision to bring that forward, because we do know that language rights are human rights, and that's across all languages, whether that's the Irish language or Irish Sign Language. They are directly linked with human rights, and you referenced those two very, very tragic deaths, and none of us will forget that day when we did pass the legislation, the tributes that we paid to those men. But it was without a doubt that deaf people in Ireland are among the most marginalised group of people in Ireland, and I really think this legislation starts the long road towards equality for those people, because we're not going to be there anytime soon. But I know, Minister, you're personally committed to this, and I know that a lot of people between both houses are committed to that. So hopefully that we can all travel this journey together over the next number of years. And you know, I think having the commencement order on the 23rd of December is probably the best Christmas gift the deaf community and the hard of hearing community and their families can get this year. It's been an incredibly difficult year, and I know from people who have contacted my office that are deaf and are hard of hearing, they're having a particularly difficult time at the moment with people wearing face masks, and not being able to lip read has had a significant impact on their health and their well-being and their ability to make their way in the world. So I think this is a really good recognition of the difficult time that they've had over the past number of months. So it's a fantastic occasion. I'm really glad, Minister, that you referenced the Irish Sign Language interpreters assisting the Department of Health with the health briefings, because I think just the symbolism of that alone was very, very significant. And the more that the people outside the Irish Sign Language community sees of it, the more it kind of normalises it and inspires other people to perhaps take those lessons and start including or better including the deaf people living within our communities. But there are two other Irish Sign Language interpreters that I'd like to pay tribute to here today, and they're Amanda Coogan and Aisling Dragogi. I hope I pronounced that properly. They both interpreted the most recent toy show, and they did an absolutely fantastic job. I don't know if any of you saw their interpreting of the toy show. It was actually the second year ever that the toy show was interpreted in Irish Sign Language, and I think that's probably as a direct result, Mark, of the vision that you had a number of years ago. That toy show was the most widely watched toy show ever, and I think it was the top watched programme in the country. And it was watched far beyond this country, it was watched abroad. And to have those two interpreters interpret with such enthusiasm and dance along to every song being sung, it really included deaf children and their families. And I felt, sorry, just getting a bit emotional even thinking about it, that it included them and made their Christmas special. So Mark and Minister, thank you very much for that. I'm particularly glad to see from your speech, Minister, that the court service will allow or will have the responsibility of providing interpreters for civil litigation procedures. Now, this is absolutely groundbreaking, because up until that, nobody could take the risk, the financial risk of bringing any civil litigation proceedings. Like, it's a big enough risk taking a case anyway, but to have that extra risk heaped on people just because they are deaf was an absolutely outrageous barrier to the access to justice. So I'm particularly happy to see that. And I'm also particularly happy to see that my own local university, Dublin City University, will be providing the new Irish Sign Language Bachelor of Education course to further assist deaf and hard of hearing children in our education system, and to allow those children aspire to be teachers. And I think that's the most wonderful thing, really, that any child can have, is to have the aspiration to achieve their goals. So thank you very much, Minister, for your very comprehensive rundown of the legislation. I will celebrate with a glass of champagne, I think, on the 23rd of December, and I'll definitely brush up on my Irish Sign Language and skills on that day to celebrate with all of you. Thank you.